participant for the Technology Entrepreneurship Program, TIP and for ISB CAE. And Madam was a learning consultant and a program manager position for social impact programs such as CMSTIEI program, and trained participant to set up a business and Atal Catalyst. Just a minute. Sorry. Madam was a learning consultant and training the participant to set up a business and Atal Catalyst by ISB, catering to the top 100 Digi entrepreneurs from the Atal Tinkering Lab. And now she is a
There is a little disturbance in the internet, so we ration please bear with us.
hello, madam. Yeah, madam, you are not audible.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, right. There was some internet issue, connectivity issue.
No problem.
Yeah, you can please.
Sure, I'll start. So does that mean, I mean, it's not still 2:30. So how much time do I have? 1 hour?
Yes, madam.
Okay, I'll do that. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you are able to view it. Are you able to see my screen? Are you able to view my screen?
Yes. Yes, madam. Yeah.
Okay. Let me
start
my timer as well. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am, for the kind introduction. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here, able to share the learnings that I have from the entrepreneurial ecosystem, from all that I have learned throughout this last 6 years, being part of the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Telangana, Hyderabad. So it's a pleasure, it's a joy to cultivate, to motivate the faculty in building up this entrepreneurial ecosystem in the places wherever you are placed in. But it's a tough it's a tough job to do right now after lunch around 2:30. So let me start with a lighter note. So if I ask you all to switch on your cameras right now, I hope this is not the situation where people are still eating with their mouths stuffed in. But yeah, as you all are from the faculty group, and you all know what it is to do an online session, and that too after lunch. So it's a challenge, but I hope and I believe that I will make this an interesting journey for next 1 hour. So culturally, we are people who love movies. We have given Bollywood to the world. People from other countries know us with our hero and heroines. And with RRR winning the Oscars, we are very popular all over. So today I want to share you a story of entrepreneurship. The title, as it says, is entrepreneurship. And let me start with explaining the meaning of the title. Most of you by now would have heard about it, or also working with students who are in this entrepreneurial journey, and or you yourselves are entrepreneurs in this journey. So what is this entrepreneurship all about that we are talking now? So entrepreneurship is a process of identifying, evaluating, and exploiting the opportunities to create new economic and social value. It involves initiation, organization, and management of a venture with the goal of transforming innovative ideas into viable business, which has both economic and social value. So in short, entrepreneurship is all about starting off with an idea and taking it forward into a business. So there is an opportunity that needs to be exploited, which needs to be made into a form that will have economic and social value. So it's translating an opportunity into a business. And that's what our movie title is. So we are looking for opportunities and we are going to translate into business. So who are the lead actors in this movie? The lead actors are my two favorite folks, or my favorite people called the entrepreneurs, which some of you may be, or which some of you may be already guiding them. So entrepreneurs are individuals who take entrepreneurship. They are involved in this process by taking certain risks, and they exploit the uncertainties, trying to generate profits and achieve broader societal goals. So they are trying to solve certain societal problems and trying to make economic value out of that. But these people are not general people. Our hero and heroines are pretty much very exciting, like our Bollywood hero and heroines. These lead actors, whom I call them mini-me's, are very exciting folks. They are very high-level energy folks, and they display certain characteristics and traits. And in the literature, it has been shown that entrepreneurs have typically 5 dimensions or traits. And to name them, they have autonomy. They bring forth ideas and they see that they do complete process of ideation. They don't leave themselves at the idea stage, but they see that their idea becomes into a reality. They are proactive. They make their own decisions. They don't wait for others to give them orders or commands. They make their first steps. They make the path. They are pioneers. They are competitively aggressive. These are people who do not get scared or do not fear about competition or competitors around them. They face them. They see where are the gaps that they can address in the crowded space, in the highly competitive world. They are also risk takers. But be mindful, these risks are not some random risk without any thought. These are calculated risk with an understanding of the consequences. And finally, these are folks who are innovative. They pursue novel ideas, creative processes, and they are very experimentative in nature. And as you all know, experiments have their inherent capability of being a failure too. So they do not get scared by failing and starting over again. They do not get scared with learning on the process, unlearning and relearning. And these are our lead actors. So these are our heroes, the entrepreneurs. So these mini-me's, as I said, find an opportunity and they want to translate it into a business, which is the entrepreneurship journey. And when they have an idea, it has to go through a lot of processes of idea screening. And then you have to develop a concept and test it out. Then you also have to understand the market strategy, develop a business plan, then develop the product for it, and then you test it in the market and launch it. This entire journey is a journey which involves a lot of trial and error. And the entrepreneurial journey is not an easy journey. And in this process, if you scientifically put it, it involves understanding about product development. As mentioned by BIRAC website, it is a journey from TRL level 1 to TRL level 9, where it involves doing basic research. It involves developing a product, minimum viable product, to fully commercial product, and then launching it in the market. In addition to product development, which could be a hardware or a software, the entrepreneurs also have to focus on understanding the market. They need to assess whether the market is ready for their product, whether there is a need for the product in the market, what price should they put for their product, is there a willingness to pay for in the market. So there are several other factors about the market that the lead actors should know. So the mini-me's may have to do both product and the market development to launch their business. So it's a journey which is involved with a lot of risk and lot of uncertainties. And in this journey, the lead actors have to either encounter huge success, that is like a blockbuster movie, which brings in manifold returns that they will not be able to hold, and the returns that they give to their investors, or they undergo a failure, that they flop in the market, that they have zero returns or maybe debts as well. So the entrepreneurs do take a tremendous amount of risk, and it's like a probability whether their venture will either be successful or a failure. So is the case with our Indian movies, isn't it? It is either going to be a blockbuster hit or a blockbuster flop. So in all this journey, there are companies which have tried to understand what are the reasons why these lead actors fail. Why does their ventures, the startups, fail? And it was observed by CB Insights and published in August 3rd, 2021, that the number one reason why these actors fail is either they run out of cash or they fail to raise new capital. So it's like a financial burden, that they finance problem, and then they don't have a market need. So they develop a product which doesn't have a market need, or they don't find a specific target segment for which they are addressing the market, or the competitors take over them and they are fast enough to replace the lead actor's product. So these are certain other reasons why, there are several other reasons why an entrepreneur fails in his venture. But this journey can be made easy, and that's where the supporting actors come. The supporting actors' role is simply to ensure that the lead actors perform well and their venture takes up and rockets high. So these mini-me's, the entrepreneurs can do really well in their venture. That's what the supporting actors do. They provide environment, they provide resources in such a way that the lead actors can benefit well. So moving on, these supporting actors form the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So the sole role of an entrepreneurial ecosystem is to ensure that the entrepreneurs, the lead actors, are successful in their journey, in their venture. So it is a supporting role. And by definition, an entrepreneurial ecosystem refers to interconnected network of individuals, organizations, institutions, resources, and policies that collectively support and bring together value addition to entrepreneurship in specific region or industry. And it encompasses both tangible and intangible elements that foster to create, grow, and sustain an entrepreneurial venture. So basically, these are all elements or resources brought in by network of individuals, organizations, institutions, resource, and policy makers. Let me break down the entrepreneurial ecosystem further. The entrepreneurial ecosystem has several stakeholders. It consists of individuals like mentors, regional communities like industry bodies, and also entrepreneurship associations. It also has corporates, donors who are willing to give, angel investors, evangelists who spread the word about entrepreneurship, academic and research institutions who bring in various other resources, government, investors, strategic advisors, industry bodies, multilateral and international bodies like councils, and also sponsors who are willing to plunge in not just for funding, but for strategic advising as well, and entrepreneurs, of course, and service providers who bring in various resources necessary for the entrepreneurs to establish their venture, and incubators. So in a brief, this is a nutshell of the entrepreneurship stakeholders. But in literature, famously known as Eisenberg's model of an entrepreneurship ecosystem, he builds that there are 6 pillars which are necessary for an entrepreneurial ecosystem. And these 6 pillars are policy, finance, culture, support, human capital, and markets. He famously says that for a good entrepreneurial ecosystem to build, you need to have all these 6 pillars acting interconnectedly together in a high quality for the success of the entrepreneurs. So let's go one by one. And I also add a caveat here. The stakeholders which we saw before and the 6 pillars at times overlap. So there are certain stakeholders which bring more than 2 or 3 pillars, and there will be stakeholders who will only bring 1 or all. So when you see the reasons why the startup failed, all these reasons can be bucketed in one of those 6 pillars. For instance, ran out of cash can be bucketed like a finance pillar. No need of market as a market pillar, got outcompeted as a market pillar as well. Regulatory and legal challenges as the support pillar, not the right team as a human capital, and so on. So all the reasons will eventually fall in those 6 buckets. And that's exactly the reason why an ecosystem or the supporting actors should be providing those necessary resources. For instance, let's break the 6 pillars one by one and understand the ecosystem that's in India for developing an entrepreneurial ecosystem. So the first pillar being policy. We need a leadership that unequally supports for entrepreneurship. And interestingly or thankfully, we have our renowned Prime Minister, eminent Prime Minister Modi ji, who invariably backs up the startup ventures. He voices out for the success of startups in India. His policies has been forthcoming and has encouraged entrepreneurship in manifold ways. So we are very much in sync for the necessity of a good policy pillar. So there has to be entrepreneurship strategy. There has to be an urgency in having a transparent policy. And all this has been put in place. And I will share the example in the next slide. And then the government at the national level and at the state level, in both the levels, there has to be policies which will encourage entrepreneurship, which will enable startups to take risk, which will enable the actors to be able to take the risk and be mindful of the cushion that they can have when they fail. So there has to be several incentives in terms of tax, financial incentives. There has to be venture friendly legislation which can help them in case of bankruptcy, in case of any labor laws or property rights. So these are certain things which are already in place. And one good portal for you to understand this policy is the Startup India portal. Startup India, as I said, has been an initiative which started in 2016 January. And under this initiative, manifold activities has been undertaken to support entrepreneurs and startups. Entrepreneurs who help in creating jobs and who help in building the economy and addressing the social needs of the society are a very, very integral part of the society. So under this initiative, there are primarily three activities that has been done. One is to simplify and to handhold all the materials that are needed for the startup to know for their entry to exit, from incorporating, from recognitions, from the legal support, from ensuring that they can have competitive advantage in comparison to other companies or the big players. There are several documents which help the startups to understand and which help the startups to also get an edge over others. So there are several documents which are in the portal. Then there are initiatives which have funding. So Startup India Seed Fund is one of the classic funds that has been started under the Startup India scheme. Several incubators are responsible for disbursing the Startup India Seed Fund. So the Startup India Seed Fund comes in the early stage and for the later stage startups or entrepreneurs. It helps in the ideation as well as in the product development phases. So there is a grant component and there is a debt-linked instrument component. So this is one of the key funds which are available for the startups to start their journey from idea to commercialization. Apart from that, this portal also highlights the various other tax incentives which are available for startups. So this is the policy framework that government has taken up to ensure that the ecosystem can be established for ease of doing business for startups. Then there is incubation and industry and academia partnerships. In the website as well, you will see there are a lot number of incubators, innovation labs that have been listed. Apart from the listing, all the programs that are happening, all the challenges, competitions that are happening in each of these incubators are also showcased there. So any entrepreneur who wants to take his product to the next level or to his idea to the next level has to just log in and search for the relevant incubator that he wants to work with. So as a blanket, our nation is predominantly covered by the Startup India policy. Apart from this, each industry has Make in India policy. So that helps in So the reason for Make in India is to overcome the import dependency in specific industries. For instance, I come from a life sciences background, and medical devices is one of the extremely highest import dependent industry. Almost 96% of medical equipments are imported in India. But we have also seen use cases where a lot of imports have reduced over a period of time. And one best example is during COVID. During COVID, when RT-PCR kits were almost being imported from outside, India didn't know when the logistics and supply chain was disrupted, how to build it in-house. But many startups, many MSMEs, many incubators came together. S&T clusters came together to make sure that India becomes self-reliant in the building of RT-PCR kits during COVID. That's one success case where the entire entrepreneurial ecosystem came together to ensure we will be able to fight the pandemic by designing the right product, ensuring that the raw materials are indigenized, ensuring that the product is designed for the Indian population with the Indian genome. So research institutes came together. So these are certain ways where the startups have benefited during extreme conditions as well. So Make in India initiative enables under different industries for the startups or the entrepreneurs to establish and innovate in those industries. So moving on to the second pillar, which is the financial capital pillar. In the financial capital pillar, this is the need for having finance for the startups or the entrepreneurs. And the finance can range from equity-based financing to debt-based financing and grants and several others. I will not go in detail to this because tomorrow again we have a session on funding, and I would be doing the same session, and I will go through every different kinds of financing or funding sources available for an entrepreneur. So I'll park this topic for tomorrow. Moving on to the third pillar, which is the culture. Culture essentially begins by sharing success stories. Culture also begins by sharing the failures as well. When you tolerate failures, when you tolerate the risk, and when you allow a culture where learning and relearning can happen, when a failure is treated as a lesson to be learned rather than something that is frowned upon, a culture of risk-taking begins. And it's very interesting that over the years, India culturally has emerged as a culture which can accept, which can tolerate risk, which can tolerate mistakes and give them second chances as well. There are people who have become serial entrepreneurs after two failures, or they have become serial entrepreneurs after multiple failures as well. There are venture stories where we hear the entrepreneur has become successful after multiple rounds of failure, and we have become a generation, or we have become a culture acceptable to this. And this has to start. And we also, as culturally, became more innovative, creative, and we famously known as Indian Jugaad has been going on for frugal innovation. And to increase the success stories, we have also heard stories of our unicorns. We know that by 2022, we had more than 100 unicorns, and this number is growing on each year. And also to increase the entrepreneurial mindset, to increase a culture of innovation, culture of creativity, culture to think beyond, not just be focused on the just necessities, but also to think creatively. In the nation, there is a program called as Atal Tinkering Labs. And they every year during summer vacations run a program called ATL Tinkerpreneur. This is a boot camp to become entrepreneur in the summer. Essentially, the school children who are from classes 6 to 12, they pick up a problem that they want to solve, they ideate on it, they find a solution, they even build an app or website to address, because partly because the problems that they are trying to solve are based on digital tools. And it's very interesting to see the way their ideas, the problems that they pick and the ideas that come from these group of students. Last year, almost 9,000 plus students across India benefited from this program. And this program essentially gives the student a mindset where they can understand how to understand a problem, how to deal, and how to brainstorm, how to come up with a solution. So this kind of encourages them to have a mindset of experimentation and trying out. So thirdly, the third pillar is the support pillar. In the support pillar, the necessity is to have resources which the entrepreneur would need. These are resources which are necessary for product development. So these are basically infrastructure necessary for prototyping, product building, manufacturing, and also resources which are necessary for legal and legal compliances, other corporate compliances, like they need to understand about incorporation. They need to understand about all the various certificates necessary for running, carrying out a venture in India. They need to understand the various taxes that they need to file for. They also have to understand labor laws for them to onboard team members into their team. So there are a lot of statutory and legal compliances which the startup needs to understand as well. So there is a lot of requirement for support professionals for the success of the startup. And then there are also necessity for non-governmental institutions, because they also help them in accessing markets. They also help them in giving visibility in the market. They also give them last mile delivery. So essentially, support professionals are provided by various entities that are established in the ecosystem. For instance, an incubator is an entity that is established in the ecosystem by either an academic institute or a government organization to provide this support function. This support function can be provided either via mentors or via workshops or by just creating space. So incubators primarily provide the startup with a space to work, and then support functions who can help them with legal and statutory compliances. They also bring in industry partners, so give them access to market. They also bring advice in terms of business strategy, go to market, and also validation, product development. So incubators play a very pivotal role in the success of startups. So if you see, the stakeholder incubator does not just address one pillar, but he ensures that he addresses several pillars together. And one such example of incubators that spread across India is the DST funded TBIs, Technology Business Incubators. There are several business incubators, almost 120 TBIs across India, 40 Nidhi TBIs, which help in the prototyping facility. And there are almost 12,000 plus startups incubated here. Apart from that, Department of Biotechnology, DPT, has built, along with BIRAC, has built BioNest incubators. So there are almost 65 BioNest incubators across India. And these BioNest incubators predominantly focus on life sciences, biotechnology, pharmaceutical industry, food and agri related problems. And BIRAC, through the BioNest incubators, also provides funding grants, which I will discuss later. One more set of incubators that are spread across India are the Atal AIM AIC, which is AIM Incubation Centers. AIC and ACIC, which are Atal Community Incubation Centers, are placed at various locations in India to help with social impact, with specific industry-related incubation. So all these incubators help the startups or startups to take their idea and grow till TRL level 4 or 5, where they have a minimum viable product or prototype. Apart from that, certain incubators also do accelerator programs, which help the startups to scale from minimum viable product to entry into market. So there are several other, apart from these incubators, there are several other academic or corporate incubators and accelerators. Each company, for instance, Microsoft has its own makerspace, Makers Lab. Google has its own innovation labs. So each certain corporates also do corporate innovation programs together with the incubators in their vicinity. They run these challenges and corporate innovation programs to help the startups to reach to the market faster. they bring out the problem statements. The corporates share the problem statements which they want to solve, and they look out for startups which are working in this space. So startups which try and address or build solutions to address the corporate problems are easily uptaken during this corporate innovation programs. And this helps them to access the market faster. The fifth pillar is the human capital. And this human capital is generated via several ways. As I showed before, ATL is one way to generate the human capital necessary for entrepreneurship or startup development. We need to raise entrepreneurs in our ecosystem. We need people who would be willing to take calculated risk and face uncertainties of building a venture. And educational institutions like yours is one place where a lot of entrepreneurial capital is hidden. We need people who could be part of the founding team. We need founders. We need people who could work along with them in trying to solve the problems in the society. So educational institutions also have e-cells which help them to build the entrepreneurial mindset. Then we also need labor for various skilled and unskilled needs in the entrepreneurial journey. We need networks of entrepreneurs. So one of the such networks, so as I said, there are several academic institutes and research institutes in India where this entrepreneurial human capital is present. Moving on to the sixth pillar, which is the markets. Markets are necessary because we need to, we are developing a product, whether be it a software or hardware, with the mind that there is a potential customer out there in the market who is willing to pay. So if the market is not accepted, no matter how excellent the product might be, how innovative or creative or mind-boggling the product may be, it will fall flat in the market if there is not a need. The needs of the market change over time. The requirements of the market change over time. And it is necessary for a startup to know what the market wants. So it is imperative for the entrepreneurs to be connected to the markets, to know who their customers are, who their first customers are, beachhead customers, to understand the distribution channel, how to go to market, how to access the business networks which are in their vicinity, or if they have to understand how to enter international market if their idea or solution is not for India. Such ideas or such advice can come to the startups through mentorship and advisors, which the incubator can bring, which an academic institution can bring in, or an accelerator can bring in. That's where I said incubators don't just play a role in infrastructure, but they play a role in many pillars, and the other pillar is markets. So incubator essentially provides support, provide markets, they provide financial assistance, they also provide the human capital. There are several incubators where the startups find their fellow team members from the same vicinity. So one other way which government has enabled to ensure there is a marketplace where the startups can register their product and where the government can accept their solutions is the GEM portal, government e-portal, e-marketplace. So in this portal, the sellers can register their products, which primarily are startups, and the preference is given to startups procurement. There are bids, there are tenders which are rolled out by the government in this portal, which the startups can startups can apply. And each state has its own startup policy where the preference is given to the products made by the startup. Apart from this, to access international markets, Startup India portal also showcases various avenues that are available for it. Startup India, as a nation, the department has tied or signed many bilateral ties with several countries, for instance, Canada, UAE, Italy, Switzerland, and they have ensured the soft landing of startups from India to other countries. In addition to these, they also organize trade fairs where the startups get the eligibility to showcase their product in the international market. And apart from that, there are several industry associations such as TIE. TIE stands for the Indus Entrepreneurs, which is just a network of entrepreneurs who have their local, global, and regional chapters. They work across cities, across nations, and they help their entrepreneurs to have visibility, awareness of different markets. They connect their startups to various industry players as well. Then we have industry bodies like CII, Confederation of India, where in Indian industries, where they work with several industry from different segments. So they have industry related segments, pharma industry, automobile industry, and they have food processing industry and several other industry players, where each entrepreneur who is working on specific industry related problems or addressing certain industry requirements can get benefit from. Then you have specific individual industry bodies like NASSCOM, which focuses majorly on IT sector. So, and then you have ABLE, which focuses on biotech sector. So there are several specific industry bodies which also enable startups to have market access. And these industry bodies not just help the startups to have market access, but they come with loads of mentorship and business advisory. They advise the startups on their product development. They advise the startups on their business strategy, how to go to market, how to pivot. All these advisory advisors can also be found in these industry associations. So one such case study that I would like to share today, and partly because of where I come from, is the story of Telangana. The story of Telangana is the story of the startup nation of India. The startup state of India, Telangana, started just after its initiation. Telangana, which was formed in the year 2014, with the very mind that the startup culture should be encouraged in Telangana, started off several initiatives to promote this innovation ecosystem. Just like Startup India portal, in Telangana also there is a Startup Telangana portal where all the policies, all the documents necessary for the startups to understand the various benefits of being a startup in Telangana is documented and made available. And in addition, not just the portal, there are a network of ecosystem players who come to play together for the success of the startup. Primarily, there are 9 innovation ecosystem players, with each one of them having a different mandate and different motive to work together. So the first innovation ecosystem player is TSIC, Telangana State Innovation Cell. TSIC is the nodal agency for innovation in Telangana, and it is the one-stop place for all the innovators in Telangana, individual innovators who work at their different geographies within Telangana, in the rural places, in places which are remote from the city, Hyderabad, are all accessible through TSIC. And TSIC is known for its flagship program, Intinta Innovator, which means that they source innovators from each house. They say that there will be an innovator in each house, and we want the innovator to reach out to us. And they conduct this competition every year, and they shortlist top innovators every year and showcase them to the state to the state in state level exhibitions. And also they fund the innovators to take their journey forward. And over the years, since its establishment in 2017, they have reached out to several government schools, government school students and teachers. And they have screened several rural innovators and have impacted many lives in the rural sector. So these are primarily, TSIC primarily works with the grassroots level innovators. And we have stories of several students who have taken up entrepreneurship journey post their innovations. Two famous examples that I know is of a boy named Ravi, who built a product for visually impaired. He is in his engineering second year, and he is right now having his own entrepreneurial journey, and he's prototyping his product together with LV Prasad Eye Institute. Another girl is a Shrija, who built a flower pot using groundnuts waste. And her idea was to use the waste from groundnuts in a productive way by the concept of wealth from waste. And she made the waste of the groundnuts into a pot that can be used for growing plants. And her product is right now being developed, and she is selling some of the products in partnership with AgHub, which is an incubator at the Agricultural University. Moving on, the second innovation ecosystem player is the T-Hub. T-Hub is the incubator which was set up in Telangana in the year 2017 with the sole motive of addressing the needs of the startups in the deep technology space. So when the new campus, which is currently at Gachibowli, was inaugurated, it turned out to be the world's largest innovation campus. And T-Hub does several innovation programs in terms of startups. It does corporate innovation programs, academia innovation programs, and government innovation programs. And in line with Eisenberg's model of entrepreneurial ecosystem, they have developed their framework, which is the 6M2P model, where they focus on providing money, methodologies, market access, mentorship, motivation, manpower, partnership, and policy advisory. They do this through their several programs that they have designed throughout their entrepreneurial journey. So as I said before, entrepreneurial journey starts off with an idea, and it goes on till it enters into a market. And T-Hub runs several programs for each idea that helps the startup to go through the journey without any hiccups. For instance, T-Hub runs a program called Rubrics, which helps the startup to move from the minimum viable product to product development. Then from the product to growth, it runs a program called T-Angel. So these are certain programs that T-Hub does. Apart from that, the third innovation ecosystem that Telangana government has is called V-Hub. V-Hub primarily or exclusively focuses on women entrepreneurs. Women entrepreneurship stands for any women-led venture where the women co-founder or the founder holds more than 51% equity. So V-Hub and predominantly or exclusively focuses on women entrepreneurs and their stories. There are manifold stories of successes from V-Hub. RICH, that's where I come from. RICH stands for Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad. We are primarily a collaborative platform. We work with research institutes, academic institutes, and we all work with industry. Startups are one way in which we bring ideas which are in the research stage, which are in the academic institutions, that is in the labs, to the market. We help the startups to refine their solutions in the research institutes, and we help them to coordinate with the industry. We predominantly work on three verticals: life sciences, food and agriculture, and sustainability. And the reason for choice of these three verticals is because these are very research-led industries. For them to succeed, we need to have a research backing. And for that very reason, we have partnered with 30 plus research and academic institutes. So we also come in as a knowledge or domain expert within the innovation ecosystem players. So for instance, if T-Hub has startups which are working on healthcare focus, we bring in the domain expertise required for them. We also work with TSIC startups when they have startups in any one of the three verticals. In sustainability, our focus areas are on EV, clean technology, mobility, and green hydrogen. And we also help startups through our seed fund, Startup India Seed Fund. And we also help start in addressing their specific gaps. For instance, startups which are in the life sciences space do not have access to hospitals. Most often the solutions that the startups in the life sciences space is designed by engineers. These are biomedical engineers or electronics engineers or mechanical engineers who identify a medical problem and try to solve it with their product. However, they do not have understanding of the clinicians. Hence, we bring in the clinicians' inputs by partnering with, we have partnered with more than 14 hospitals. We bring in the clinicians not just for mentoring and advisory roles, but also for validation studies. Hospitals become test beds for the startups to see if their product or the idea works. So the fifth innovation partner is TASK. TASK stands for Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge. TASK primarily works with colleges and universities for skill building, where one of the focus areas is also entrepreneurship. Way back when I was with ISB, one of the programs that TASK did in Telangana was called TEP, Technology Entrepreneurship Program, where the idea was to build entrepreneurial mindset in the colleges. And it was a course that was done for second or third year students for a span of 1 to 2 years. The sixth innovation ecosystem player is T-Works. T-Works is the largest prototyping center developed by Telangana government. And the whole idea of T-Works is to provide an infrastructure or an incubation space where hardware products can be developed. If T-Hub was focused more on deep tech, which is on technology related to software, T-Works focuses more on hardware related products. So there are prototyping facilities necessary for building wood items or ceramic or even plastics. So there is several 3D printers available, electronics, PCB manufacturing facility, and many more. So T-Works is a state-of-art facility enabling the startups to build their first prototype with expertise. Inline, NCAM is another innovation ecosystem player. NCAM is majorly focused on manufacturing facility. NCAM helps in understanding or designing the manufacturing of the hardware products, because after prototyping, when the product has to come into market, there needs to be a manufacturing process that needs to be established. NCAM helps in the startups in either identifying the required manufacturing process or connecting them to this required manufacturing process for contract manufacturing, or they themselves building a manufacturing process customized to the product which the startup is building. So NCAM helps in additive manufacturing, and it's one of the facility which is coming up soon. Image COE is yet another facility, but and focused on animation, gaming, AR, VR. These are all software-based, high deep tech solutions, which the startup can take advantage for building the next gen products, for building generative AI, for instance, like generative AI and other high-end deep tech products. in addition to all these ecosystem players, there is a department under ITCS, which is called as the Emerging Technologies Wing. Emerging Technologies Wing is considered as one of the innovation ecosystem players, as it ensures that the startups which are being nurtured by the innovation ecosystem players, their ideas can be used or taken up in the government use cases. So there are several startups which have started working with different departments in the government, but by deploying their products in the solutioning. For instance, there is a startup which manufactured drone and was responsible for dispersion of seeds in a program called Harita Haran in Telangana. And that startup benefited from the procurement through ET Wing. There are other startups similarly who are working right now for tracking and tracing spurious seeds from the farmer to the distributor. So there are several startups which get benefited under the ET Wing for government use cases. And I'm proudly must say that all these activities taken up by government for establishing an innovation ecosystem since the beginning has led to Telangana getting at the top performer award in the state startup ranking in 2021. The ranking for 2022 is in progress, but we are hopeful that it will shine even in this ranking. And this has led to the tremendous growth of the number of startups in Telangana. There are almost 3,000 plus registered startups and 500 plus startups that are incubated within all the innovation ecosystem players. And there are also almost 22 crore financial support that has been given to the startups. So with this, I would like to end and open the session for any questions. Yeah. Thank you.
If any participants would like to ask any questions, they're free to ask. Madam, I have one question. I'm Dr. Himabindu,
Yes, doctor.
faculty from Department of ECGRIT. What
Yes.
is the support RICH would provide if at all faculty wants to start up? Faculty wants to.
Thank you, Dr. Himabindu, for the question. But quick question to you: what sector that you are looking at?
Autonomous drones is what we are looking at.
Okay, for drones, we do have certain specific use cases or entities who are working on. So Emerging Technologies Wing is one which is also working on drones. We also within RICH have a sustainability vertical which looks on EV mobility though. So we need to understand where the drone usage is. If the drone usage is in agriculture, it's pretty much our food and agri department can as well help. So we would be happy to engage with you and see what exactly is your requirement and connect you with the right partner. This I can proudly say at RICH, we do have walk-in startups. Apart from our flagship programs, we do get startup requests every day. So whichever startup wants, so is with TSIC, whoever wants to have certain handholding, they can just write to us. We have all our details on our website, and we do connect with them and understand what their specific requirement is.
Thank you very much. I'll follow it up further. We are still prototyping. We've started prototyping the surveillance drone right now. But hopefully we'll see you soon after we've got what we desire to do.
But what is your surveillance drone gonna do? Is it for different?
It's got a simple Raspberry Pi cam, which is going to surveillance the entire GRIT and search in the nooks and corners where human intervention is not possible.
Okay.
It's a simple, candid project that was developed to find out where students are sneaking out during their free times.
Okay.
That's the agenda with which we started, but we are started thinking it on a serious note.
Yeah, understanding your target customer would be important.
Yes,
and
yes.
the target
So
is that you're gonna use.
yes, yes, right. Yes. I think we have a few more questions in the chat. I'll just look into that and I'll get back. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if there are many of you who are not from Telangana, but I apologize for it. My
No, no,
knowledge
no.
is towards
No.
Telangana.
No, the participant group is mostly dedicated from Telangana, and quite a few people are from outside of Telangana. So your content must have reached each and every participant. But because we being faculty and we being new to this entrepreneurship, it takes time for us to kick in these things into our blood. That's
Yes.
nothing beyond that.
And there are a lot of players, so it's difficult
Yes.
to understand. Yeah.
Yes, yes. The students are more into it, and we as faculty are also encouraging them, being mentors to their startups.
That's nice.
Yes, yes. And Dr. Sushmita Sundar, the director of RICH, has given us a very beautiful session. She has given us about all the details of entrepreneurship ecosystem, where the first thing that she is told from the beginning is studying the requirements of the market happens to be a very important thing. And she has also mentioned us the various portals where we can access data which is relevant to the startups and entrepreneurship. I hope all the faculty who are there in this session make complete use of it, and I'm sure they are in a very reachable zone to all of us. We can contact them. They're just, I guess, one visit to the office would do, or one mail would do for us to reach them out with our projects and with our ideas, which would help us develop better. Any other questions also, please post it in the chat box. We can further post them to Madam if at all you don't have any as of now.
Yeah, I can see one comment
Yeah.
saying, can we get the slides? Definitely, I can
Slides,
give it
yes.
to Padma ma'am.
Yes, we will share it to them, ma'am. Once we receive it from you, we'll share it to them. Thank you very much for the beautiful session, ma'am. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I hope all the participants did.
Yeah, and I hope all of you become very great, either actors or supporting actors. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
I request all the participants to fill the feedback form given in the comments, and it will be closed by 3:30. Speed up and complete the form.
So I guess that was the last session for today.
Yes, madam. All the sessions complete.
That's the last session for today. Yes. So we can call it a day once the feedback link is filled, right? So we'll be holding ourselves till 3:30. I request all the participants to fill the feedback link and then only leave the session.